6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Right, that's it. I've had enough. Sack the board, sack Eddie Howe, get everyone out. It's fucking shit yesterday. And if you ever hear me talk like that, punch me. I mean it. I don't want to hear all that crap. I've had enough of idiots on Twitter today. Got a joke to start off, haven't we? I haven't got a good one this time. So hit the subscribe button, guys. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diet Crow. Link is in the description. 20% off on all their amazing clobber. Don't forget about football prizes as well. They do some amazing raffles. They give £100 to the channel to give away to you guys. And there's a chance on Tuesday, but shuts on Tuesday, drawn on Wednesday, you could win a Gaza shirt. And I am trying to do my own raffle for charity. 100% money goes to charity. Please drop any products that you would like to donate. Drop me a message and we can get it done. And hopefully Diet Crow will have these available soon. But please, let's try and be sensible tonight. Yeah, not like other channels who just like to spout off for clicks and all this sort of stuff. Let's have a reasonable, rational discussion about the result yesterday, about performances, where things went wrong. And I'm sure we'll debunk it with Yin, who knows his stuff. He knows more than me. He used to play football at a higher level than I've ever even wished to have played at. My best level was 6-a-side, and I was a left back at 6-a-side. And I was top goal scorer because I was clever. So let's be clever tonight. Evening, Ian.
Good evening.
How are we doing?
How are you doing?
Jinx. Yeah, good. Everyone's in bed now, asleep. I've managed. I've scrambled everything together for tonight. So I hope the show goes like clockwork, like it normally does.
Well, the most important thing is I've 95% stopped off Twitter for a good 24 hours. Because I just thought my brain would have been absolutely took in a different direction of what I seen after that kick-off again last night. It was just, God, it's getting tiring. It's
either new fans or it's old fans who are now expecting too much, and it's a mixture of the both, and they're all colliding together. But then there are sensible people out there as well. But it's hard to find sometimes. We're going to try and debunk the game yesterday. We do have our opinions on how the match went. They might slightly differ, but very rarely do. But have your opinion in the chat as well. We want to hear what you've got to say. We won't call you an idiot. Just please make it respectful. We don't want to hear all this, this is shite, that's shite, Eddie Howe, all this kind of crap, because that's not where the issue is. There's lots of issues, but we're going to debunk it all. If anyone wants to become a member, the link's at the top of the chat. It's only 99p. Share it with everyone. Like I said, the money goes back to you guys anyway in prizes, and it helps me to keep the channel going because it costs me about £80 a month to run the channel. So members are important. Super chats are important to keep it going if you can, of course. Ches says, hi, mate. Hi, all bads. Hi, Gary. All the way from Kenya, Africa. Welcome, Facebook user. Accept the settings in Facebook and it'll show your name. So I know who you are, like Janet has. Hello, Janet. It's good when people do that because I can see who we're actually talking to. Buzzing in. Evening all from Lee's. That's Lee. Lee's the one who sent you the link in.
Oh, yeah, great, mate. Thank you very much. Honestly, it was
that one there.
Fantastic. I've done the survey for you, so much appreciated. Cheers, pal.
There we go. Right, so we are here to discuss the unfortunate circumstances of a 2-2 draw. We'll go to the lineups first. Well, before we go to the lineups, I should say, everything's jungled about again. Dubravka was playing his 150th appearance today. Congratulations to him. It's a shame it wasn't a clean sheet and we were celebrating a win for him. But what have you made of Dubravka's time at Newcastle? I mean, he was pretty much pivotal when he came, wasn't he? His debut against Man United, we won 1-0. It was an amazing performance, and we thought we had a gem on our hands, didn't we?
Yeah. Until the signing of Nick Pope, I think everybody thought Dubravka was just absolutely bang on. And I think it was just the way he went about things. He, instead of him going from being number one to somebody actually really challenging for that number one spot, I think he kind of didn't go about things the right way. And obviously the move to Man United on loan didn't go down well with I would say 90% of the fans. Obviously a lot of fans who didn't like it at all. But do you know, having come back, he sat there, watched Nick Pope for a long period of time. And when he came back in, when he had to come back in, the fingers got pointed at him, but he never played football for such a long period of time. And then obviously now you can see that in flashes how good he is.
His shot stopping is up there. Personally, I think his decisions to come off the line and punch things too often instead of catching. I mean, and he doesn't seem to command his box as well as Pope does he?
His shot stopping, in my eyes, is nowhere near as good as Nick Pope. He's
Oh, it's not as good as Nick Pope, but it's very good though.
Yeah, and I think his distribution from the floor is a lot better than Nick Pope's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he seems, God almighty, I'm going to say, when he's normally has composure with his football, with the ball at his feet, he normally is streets ahead of Nick Pope, because we're all being critics of Nick Pope's feet work. But I've always been one of these, if you've got to have two good quality keepers at your football club, and if Nick Pope was fit, I would always be happy with Dubravka being our number 2 goalkeeper instead of a Gillespie. Because if you can imagine Gillespie coming in as a 2, it'll be, you've got to have 2 top class. And like you say, when he came from when Rafa signed him, nobody kind of knew about him. And then when that debut, everybody was like, wow, what a goalkeeper, that's commanding an area, that's doing this. And a home debut, that was special. And he kind of went on and on and on to be a top goalkeeper in Newcastle. And in my eyes, I think he is a very, very, very good goalkeeper.
Yeah, I agree. As with the lineups, I looked at Bournemouth and I thought Kluivert, Tavernier with Solanke up front, those 3 would be the danger. Turns out Semenyo was pretty dangerous. But looking at their lineup, I mean, you expect to beat Bournemouth I know games played on paper, but when you saw that lineup, you thought, all right, yeah, we can get at these.
Yeah, and that's what we said on Friday. I mean, we kind of knew what the team was going to be, and we knew what the team of our team was going to be. And like I said on Friday, if 80% of our team's at full percent, I thought we would beat them, just on paper. But you can't predict a football match on paper. Obviously, we've been proved wrong again.
Yeah, if we did, we'd be rich men.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
bookies would be taking a hammering every week. This was our lineup, kind of what we expected. We thought there might be a shock that Isak might make the bench, but Murphy did make the bench, which was a bit of a shock as well because we weren't too sure if he was ready. But that's practically the lineup we expected, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's just the way Eddie puts his press conferences out. Like you kind of don't know. And what he said was that Murphy didn't train all week at all. I just thought he was not going to be involved at all. And the way he picked up Isak, I just thought he would be the one that we put on the bench. But obviously, again, Eddie Howe proved us wrong again. But of the bench, but there was the team picked itself. There was just no other. There was no other selection that you could change anything to make it what was going to be yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, without a doubt. Going into the action, it was quite a bright start. First 4 minutes, I thought we should have been 1-0 up personally. I thought when Trippier played that lovely ball in from the right-hand side and Gordon's there on the back post to head it, and he somehow nearly headed it onto his own feet. It was that bad of a header. All you had to do, I mean, I can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to go for the head down and bounce up, so the keeper had no chance. but he should have just put his head through it, shouldn't he, and hit the target.
I thought the 1-2 from Longstaff and Trippier was great over the top, but the ball in from Trippier, I mean, how difficult that ball was to put in, how high he was when he side footed, especially on a side footer, to get as much pace in and put it into a great area like that.
It was the precision of it, wasn't it, that got me? It was that good of a cross. It was right on his head.
The one thing was lacking for me was because he wasn't a centre forward, he didn't make the centre forward run in my eyes.
Yeah.
If Wilson or Isak was playing, I think we're 1-0 up. I really do.
I agree.
He kind of just it's a centre forward's instinct to go on that front foot, to be in beyond that centre half, to read them things coming in, because that's what they do on a daily basis. That's their job around them areas, to do that. So, I mean, the ball in from Trippier was just world class, and it was just Gordon. If you have a look at it, it comes kind of blindside. I know he makes that run in between the two centre halves, but until he sees that ball, it's kind of blindside, and it's a reaction more than like if an Isak or a Wilson heads, like, they would see the ball in front of that centre forward and they would just head it into the back of the net. I truly believe if we'd be 1-0 up. It was unfortunate that we didn't have a centre forward playing.
Yeah, it was. The high pressure was evident again, but the high press also nearly cost us, didn't it? I mean, out of the whole 45 minutes of the first half, Bournemouth really had the two of the best chances, didn't they? And we're going to highlight one of them now. So this was when we got basically stripped for pace at the back. Dan Burn goes to press very high. And the reason why this is a stupid thing for Dan Burn to do, to go that high, is he left a 2-on-2 at the back, and the ball was perfect. And don't forget, the guy there, you can see right in the corner of this picture, that is Botman marking the centre forward. And by the time that ball's played around the corner, Botman's in trouble.
Yeah.
And we're very fortunate. I mean, he does well. He gets into the box. He slides it to the left-hand side to Solanke, who really should have scored, but Dubravka pulled off a great save. And Botman got back to slide the ball, slide tackle, but a slide block away out of danger. But it was twice they did that, virtually exactly the same, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, how that started, it was down our right-hand side. Now Almiron actually closed the ball down. And so it threw the possession of play onto our left-hand side. If you go back a slide, Baz, that one there, so it clips up into the wingers, where Byrne gets really, really close. Now, the touch isn't great, so you can see the space that Byrne's in there. If I'm being critical of Dan Byrne, that where he's took that touch, I mean, how deep is he? He's so deep, he's not effective. For me, if my two centre halves are next to me and they're man to man, I don't go in there, and you let him have his touch and turn, because the way it worked is Almiron closed him down, so the goalkeeper was under pressure, so the goalkeeper had to play that ball. So it was kind of the goalkeeper didn't really mean to pick him out, but for me, you've got to if you're 2-on-2 like you're there, Byrne has to be a 10-15 yards deeper than that.
Yeah.
Now,
and Byrne is in line with them, like Trippier should potentially be as well. There's no way that ball gets around that corner.
No, but if you go back again, this is what as well. Joe Linton is so important. How he misses to this football club, because when Joe Linton plays, all their midfielders step across one. So that Sean Longstaff's the furthest midfielder. He comes into that midfielder. Bruno would be Lemiley, and Joe Linton would be Dan Byrne.
Yeah, and Dan Byrne would be further back.
Dan Byrne would be in behind. So that ball doesn't get played into there. So this is how important Joe Linton is to this football club in that midfield three, where last year everybody with Dan Byrne's being isolated with pace outside. Joe Linton has played a massive part in protecting him, and that's why we have been so successful, because Dan Byrne's defensive duties, aerials, blocking tackles, his stats say he's up there with one of the best at the club. If you're going to leave Dan Byrne in areas where he's going to be isolated and ran ragged, you ain't going to get the best out of him. But you've got to look out. You've got to look at the source, why it's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
That is the problem. Now, for me, that was a bad goal. Dan Burn I think he was a little bit too naive going forward, trying to
Well,
stop.
that was the chance, wasn't it? Not the goal. We'll come to the goal later on because that was
obviously this is the chance. So
Yeah.
he's a little bit too naive for me. He's going to go into the press there. But like I say, the touch, he's 25 yards in his own half. But what happens is when that ball's turned over, the gap in behind Dan Burn is ridiculous. And don't get me wrong, it's a lovely ball in through. But then the next turn of phase is Botman's outpaced, right?
Yeah.
And then the ball in between, it's a passage of play where everybody's a little bit disjointed. And I know the shot's straight at Dubravka. It's a reaction save, which is brilliant. But after that, everything it scuffles along and gets rid of it. But so many things again can be prevented. Why? When we lose the ball, we've got to be better in positional wise to make sure these things don't happen. Because we've spoke about this now. I mean, we spoke about
time and time again.
spoke about Dan Burn's qualities last week because everybody was pointing at him. Why is this and why is that? That was a bad goal that was a bad chance.
Yeah.
By bad defending by Dan Burn. I'm saying that he was too naive. He went too tight.
Yeah.
He should have dropped off. But he got no protection of his midfield three. Like I say, it's again how important Joe Linton is to this football club because time and time again when Joe Linton was in them areas, when that ball's there, he would intercept that. Or then when it's in them areas, going into Dan Burn, you see Joe Linton there, so they don't play that pass.
Yeah.
But when you see a Dan Burn isolated, or that's why they're targeting him, because they know they've got no protection in front of him, and it's stand out like a sore thumb. But what I'm going to say now is, before football is kicked now at Newcastle United, before we kick off, there is already people saying Dan Burn this, Dan Burn that, Dan Burn this, right? Yeah. And I'll guarantee you now, the way he started that football match yesterday, his first touch, he gave that ball away. I'm telling you now, he is feeling what's going on around outside that team because he loves the club, right? And you can't tell me that his own family will be saying stuff, and he will feel that. I'll tell you now.
Because I mean, his dad sits in the crowd, doesn't he? He's going to hear it all, and it's not great for him.
He will feel that, and you'll always. I'm a great believer. That first tackle, that first header. Jamal Lascelles is a great example, right? If that ball goes up and Jamal Lascelles comes straight through and wins that first header, right? The crowd goes up, and he gets a better football performance in him. He's not the best footballer, but he needs this kind of reaction from the crowds, from everybody around him, to get him through, to make him not a 6.5 to a 7.5, because that's his abilities. So that's, and it's for me, people are just pointing the fingers at certain individuals where they're pointing the stating the obvious. And I said something last night when they're on about every team's talking Dan Burn with pace. Nobody said a dicky bird when he was up against Dembele, Mbappe,
exactly.
Milan, right?
Saka,
and
Arsenal.
They brought one of the fastest players on in Europe in Borussia Dortmund. Nobody said a dicky bird because the results were right. Nobody said a dicky bird last season because the results were right. Because we defended as a team and protected his weaknesses. His weaknesses is his pace, but his strengths are defending, his heading, and everything about him else. And if everybody's just going to pick on his pace, well, come on.
Yeah, exactly. You can't change his pace. It's as simple as that. We all know he doesn't have any pace. We all know his attributes. That's the thing what really drives me mad. Now, in the first 15 minutes, the ball got lumped up, and that's how Bournemouth played most of the game. They tried to go from back to front very quickly, and they tried to get the ball over the top of Dan Burn. He won 4 out of 5 headers.
Yeah.
His ground duels, he won 2 out of 2. So when he was asked to defend, he actually defended quite well when he was up against things. Problem is, when we come to it, is the goal. But again, it's not fully Dan Burn's fault, which is what drives me mad.
Not only question his pace, question why he isn't getting protected from his weakness. That's what you've got to. That's what you've got to ask.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing I noticed as well is even when the ball was going down Dan Burn's side and it was in the air and he won the header, there was nobody there to pick up the second ball because the midfield wasn't quick enough to get back. And that was the other thing that was the problem.
Exactly what I've just said. Question why things aren't around him and he's not getting protected. So if he's winning the first ball, where are we to get the second?
Yeah, exactly.
Because as a footballer, if you win the first, you don't win the second, you certainly win the third because you should be that close.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not. And it was evident how they got in the second time as well, which was down the left-hand side this time. It started off in the middle of the park and they got a ball out to the left-hand side where literally the guy had the keys to St.James Park and he put a beautiful ball into the corridor. Yeah, and Solanke was 4 yards out. How he did not score, it was beyond me. But a great save from Dubravka keeping us in the game at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah. Now, again, I get to the protection of your fullbacks. If you look at how it starts, Almiron is that far up the pitch. Kieran Trippier is 2-on-1. So Kieran Trippier, he's stuck in between players. He can't press the ball. He can't press the player Tavernier who's going to play the cross in because he's got a player inside. So he can't do anything, which allows Tavernier, he's got a lovely delivery, by the way, and he puts right. So he makes it easy for that. But again, it's bad defending from us, not protecting our fullbacks, where last season we were very, very good at it. So Tavernier has played an absolute worldy ball in, by the way, across the front, and it's an absolute
brilliant ball.
Do you know it was right at him, but the reactions of him was up there with the best, and it was a great season. And to be honest, apart from Gordon's header, Miggy had a one where it just flashed past the post. He had an absolute pitiful right foot effort. What went past the other post.
Gordon and Barnes had 2 25-yarders, which went straight to the keeper. The one big one for me was that defence splitting pass by Bruno when Sean Longstaff burst through the middle. It was a great spot.
I thought
Sean wasn't quick enough, was he? I just don't think he got his feet right. I don't think he got his feet right. That was the problem.
Oh, to me, he was beyond the defender, and I just don't know how he didn't get on the end of it. I really don't know. I mean, the ball itself is beautiful. It was a great ball in. But on the whole, as much as we had plenty of possession, I would say we had more. I know we had
more possession. So the stats were first half, 63% of the ball. We had 8 shots, 2 on target. They had 37%, 5 shots, 3 on target. Their expected goals was 1.17. Ours was 0.48. And that kind of summed up the first half for me. We had the ball, but we huffed and puffed. They had the ball and they were very effective when they had it. They knew what they were doing. Their game plan, you could see it. It was working from back to front as quickly as possible.
I think if we were 2-0 down going into that half, I think they would have thought they should have been 2 up.
Yeah.
With the chances that they had. Now, for me, that first half, I thought the referee was poor.
Yeah, I didn't think he had a great game.
And he set his stall out where there was times where
Christie was that tackle on Bruno, wasn't there? That one on when he. I mean, I could see what he was trying to do, but he raked down his calf. You can't do that.
I don't think it was deliberate.
No, it wasn't deliberate, but he's gone over the. I mean, Bruno went over the top of the ball. Remember in the Carabao Cup last year and got sent off for it because he went over the top of the ball to protect it to bring it back, and that's exactly what the Bournemouth player was doing unintentionally. But Bruno shouldn't have waited for the ball, should he? This is in the second half, but we are going to talk about the second half anyway. Because the ball was played to him. And he was waiting. And if he'd actually went to the ball, that tackle would never have been made and he would never have got hurt.
But it wasn't just that tackle. There was times where we were breaking forward, we were getting pulled down constantly. You can see the game plan when we were breaking, get them pulled down as soon as possible. And for me, the referee just let that go on and on and on because what he should have done when that first time when somebody was breaking, got pulled down, he should have just pulled the yellow card out, and then that would have been stopped because on a on if you look through a percentage level from that football game yesterday, how many times we broke, and I mean, there was some times, man, we nearly got, there was, I think Bruno came through, he tried to wrestle him to the ground and he just shrugged him off and he kept going forward. And you could just see blatantly what they're going to do. And I thought the referee's performance yesterday was weak, to say the least.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the second half was slightly better, but out of nowhere, I mean, we started quite well. Again, there wasn't really any clear-cut chances. But the goal, the opening goal, I mean, it's just our luck at the moment, isn't it? Now, I will defend Dubravka a little bit, and unfortunately, it is Dan Burn who passes the ball back to him. It wasn't the greatest ball back to him, was it? Dan Burn should have used his right foot, so the ball was going away from goal, but he purposely uses his good foot, which was curling the ball back into the goal, and Dan Burn falls over when he plays it because he was off balance. Dubravka tries to control it back out, and he just slips. And Solanke, being the striker that he is, hungry, feeding off very well scraps through the game, he was alert, and he put the ball in the back of the net, and they went 1-0 up. And you can't legislate for it, can you? You can't plan for that. It's just a freak accident, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I'm going to give Bournemouth credit for the high press.
Yeah. I mean, they did exactly what we did. They did it very well.
And I think, and I really think you've got to. They put us into an area where we're under pressure, and they put us into an area where people get uncomfortable. And it was like when Anthony Gordon in the first half, his running off the ball first half, I thought was exceptional. He put, and that's where we nearly scored first half when he was constant running. Yes, it was unfortunate for the slip, so you just got to hold your hands up for a mistake. I mean, I had my head in my hands because you can't. For me, when you look at it, that's why I've given Bournemouth credit for the press. I don't think I can point my finger at anybody for. You can't blame anybody.
I just think the pass back to Dubravka could have been better. I mean, it's not a terrible pass, but he's played it. He's wanted to play it with his stronger foot, and he's fallen over while he's played it because he knows he's off balance. If he uses his right foot, the ball's going away from goal rather than curling into Dubravka. So Dubravka's touch has to be perfect. And I think because he was trying to angle his foot to knock the ball back out to the right-hand side, I think that constituted him to slip him potentially because he was the way he turned. It's we're talking small margins, but small margins win football matches, don't they?
Yeah. I mean, we've had goals like that where the high press has worked.
Yeah.
We were on the receiving end of that, and it's one of them, mate. For me, you can be critical of the passing from Burn, but you can be critical of why we weren't more on the front foot. That were we negative going backwards, because we had good possession in the centre of midfield, and then we kind of went back on the back foot, which allowed Bournemouth to high press us. So you can look at where it started from. Why weren't we more aggressive on the turnover? But they were more aggressive on the front foot. It's just, for me, it was just
all margins, isn't it? It was just good counter-attacking football, pressing football. It's just one of those things, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of them ones.
The equalising goal comes from a free kick, which we were starting to get free kicks in the second half. The referee was starting to dish out the yellow cards as well, but it was a little bit too late in my eyes, and probably yours as well. It was a deep ball in. It was a good ball in. And players have been told not to pull shirts. Now, if the referee doesn't give that as a penalty, he's telling everyone that you can hold on to a player's shirt for more than 5 seconds. I mean, he nearly ripped Shaw's shirt off him, didn't he? Everyone's saying, "Oh, it's a soft penalty," but the ball was he was going into the area where the ball was. He can't make himself a presence or get to the ball because he's pulled back. So it's a penalty.
Now, the Dan Burn incident helped me a lot with this decision straight away. Because if you look, it started outside the box.
Oh, the one against Luton. Yeah.
Yeah, but it carried on inside the box.
Into the box, yeah.
Yeah, so for me...
And your shirt was like that far up him.
Now,
it's like, how blatant.
The one that stuck out for me was because he was offside. I just didn't get that one where he was offside, but he didn't interfere with the player, but it's still a penalty.
Yeah, that was a bit strange.
Now, I thought it was going. I thought it was going down the Arsenal route where they were looking to cancel it out.
Yeah, potentially.
But
that's what VAR do, though, don't they? They don't just look to give one; they also look to cancel stuff out, don't they? They try and find a reason.
Once you see that shirt pull, for me, I looked at it once or twice. I went, that's a penalty that all day long, and he was always once he got took to the screen, he was always going to give the penalty.
Yeah, I agree.
Fair play to Gordon sticking it away. But I thought from then
Good
on,
penalty.
Yeah, I thought from then on we would have took that.
I thought we were going to win it. Yeah, I honestly thought the momentum seemed to be with us. The players ran in. They didn't go and celebrate. They ran in, got the ball out of the net, which I like to see. Get back to the halfway line. Let's go. We've got momentum now. And it ended up, I mean, their goal, right? Everyone's blaming Dan Burn again because Dan Burn's the last man to be near the ball before it hits the back of the net. But this goal came from our throw-in, 3/4 into their half on the right-hand side. We lose it. Well, we've done this a lot recently from throw-ins. We're losing the ball far too easily. I don't know if that's because Joe Linton's not there, Willock's not there, they're not protecting the ball well enough. But the ball ends up finding itself down the right-hand side. Now, I'm going to try and explain this slide as best as I can because I have kind of like scribbled all over it. But the reason why this goal happens for me, there's Botman running back. That one circled with a line I've put to the edge of the box. If Sven Botman is in that position where he should be alongside Shaw because he pressed the ball too high up when he didn't need to, Dan Burn could have been tighter to Samoi, who scores, and he could have pushed him out wide. But because Dan Burn's not there, because Botman's not there, Dan Burn's worried about him cutting back inside. He doesn't want to get too close to him because he knows he hasn't got any cover. So for me, Botman pushing out to, this is again, where's the midfield? You know, the high, Botman's gone to press a ball that he shouldn't. A bit like when Dan Burn did last time at home when he pushed out too high up and left the space in the right-hand corridor. So for me, there's countless mistakes that were made for that goal. From the throw-in, losing the ball too easily, being counter-attacked down the right-hand side so quickly, Botman coming out of position, and we were just all over the shop. And it was, by the way, it was a great finish. And a lot of people aren't seeing that. He hammered that into the corner. So, I mean, what do you make of that? What are your thoughts on it? I just think it's harsh that Dan Burn's getting all the blame again when there were other areas of the pitch where we should have stopped that goal from happening.
It's very mirror image of what that first chance was, what we talked about earlier on, where Burn went in tight, Botman's went in tight, but Dan Burn's done everything right there. He showed him outside, right? Yeah. He showed him outside. That's what you're taught to do, right? When you're there, you show them outside. You don't let them come inside. For me, if I've showed him outside and he's hit an absolute pearler like that across the goalkeeper, you've got to ask where your goalkeeper starts from as well. So there's a little bit there. Is my goalkeeper too narrow to his front stick? So don't get me wrong, mind. It was a great strike.
It was a bit like Nunes, Liverpool, that kind of strike. You know, that beat Pope. It was a great strike.
If we scored that goal, we would have been going, whoa, what a goal. You know, but because it's Dan Burn out there, everybody's just went, it's Dan Burn's fault straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've got to, if Tino Livramento was out there, if he hit that ball, it would have been the same outcome. I'm telling you now, because it was that good of a strike.
People take the piss out of my drawings. I'm trying, guys. If I had more time, I would have made that into 4 slides and different arrows, but trying to explain it. You've been mistaken looking at socials. It's Big Dan Burn to blame. Dubs needs swapping for Karius and Eddie Howe needs sacking Jesus Wept. I know that's everything that's on social media.
What I'm going to say straight away is, right, everybody was so critical of Dubravka when he came back in after sitting on his arse for so long. Said he's shite, get him out. We need a goalkeeper in January. Karius has never done anything from the cup final apart from take his wife shopping around the whatever, right? So is he going to come in and be this absolute superstar, what everybody thinks he is. I would rather play a goalkeeper that's playing week in, week out than somebody that's sitting on the bench, because we're not in a situation where we can actually take a chance on somebody doing that. Our squad has been crippled. We've got to have players that is ready. Karius is not ready.
He's not match ready, but he's fit. He's match fit, isn't he? He could come in, but it's Dubravka's always going to be the number two, isn't he?
There's a difference between ready and training ready. It showed with Dubravka, man. Everybody said he was terrible when he come back in. But like I say, he sat in his arse for nearly a year.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, so Karius has sat on his arse for a year. The cup final, the Carabao Cup final.
Yeah, it was a year ago,
A year ago. So what do you want to do? Just because Dubravka is slipping on his arse again, he's get about and get Karius in. And then if Karius what you would do, bring Gillespie in or bring Dubravka in? You know, it's you've got to look at the bigger picture in my eyes. It's frustrating the life out of me if people not we all want success, right, Baz? And we all want a good thing to happen. We've got to kind of be realistic of what we have, and our hands are tied of what's going on, mind.
Yeah, I agree.
Our best goalkeeper is sidelined, Nick Pope. And that's why we had one of the best defensive records in this country last season, because he was behind a good solid back four, which had that back four in, which started yesterday. So we've just got to get behind everybody.
I absolutely agree. Right, congratulations to Joe White's introduction to the game. This surprised me a little bit when you've got Lewis Hall sitting on the bench, which we'll come to later on about some potential reasons why. But he made his first Premiership debut for the young man. He didn't really do too much. He didn't do anything wrong, to be fair. But it was Eddie Howe bringing on Eddie Howe, as some people say. That changed the game. I mean, when he came, I was guilty as charged doing the live watch along. When I said Joe White and Richie came on, I literally said, we have just conceded the game here. We're trying to rest players for the next match. There is no way we're going to score. And then 2 minutes later, what a ball in, though, by the way.
Again, what a ball.
A brilliant ball in. But Richie's header is terrible. I even said that because he was trying to head it back across goal rather than scoring. I was thinking, what the hell are you doing? He's lucky because it goes down. It hits a Bournemouth defender. It hits the goalkeeper. Then it just comes to him 2 yards out and he just smashes it in the net and it's 2-2 and everyone goes nuts and we get to see this again. Boosh! Now, the only bad thing about this, all the players in the box were telling them to get back to the fucking halfway line so we could try and get a winner, and he was away, wasn't he?
And the referee says, put the corner flag back, and he was getting fuck off. I'm not
going back there. I'm knackered, mate.
I mean, the header, I've looked at it about 3 or 4 times now. I don't know if he's trying to pick somebody out or he's just...
He was trying to head it back across goal, but why? He was 6 yards out.
Or shut his eyes. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he shut his eyes, hasn't he?
But the most important thing is he's reacting to the rebound.
Yeah.
That's the most important thing. And he's it's great for him. It's probably his last
2 yards out.
Last goal he's from Newcastle United.
Probably.
Probably. But everybody loves
what do you make of it then? I mean, it's great to watch it in it. And look at him, he's like that. But get back to the halfway line, man. We've got chances to get a winner. But we nearly had a winner as well, didn't we? Bruno plays a lovely ball in from the centre midfield. And I don't know what Murphy was doing. But he didn't. I mean, the ball curled away slightly from him, but he's got to be more tenacious in getting to that ball, hasn't he? A Wilson or an Isaac or a proper number 9 throws their body on the line to try and get something on that ball, don't they?
See, when we spoke on Friday, Baz, I was petrified of putting square pegs in round holes, is what they said. And I kind of said that I was more fearful of Gordon drifting out to that left-hand side from that central position, which he did in that first half, which made Eddie Howe change the formation in my eyes. To put he just put Barnes up there and let Gordon And for me, Barnes was nowhere near as effective, apart from
he wasn't very fit though, was he? By the looks of things, he was still probably maybe best as a cameo role, but we were that stumped for bodies, weren't we?
I mean, we haven't picked up on in the second half where
Miggy should have scored.
Miggy picks.
Well, he should have passed it,
and he should have passed it to Gordon.
Yeah.
So you're on about Dan Burn Botman's decision making at the back end, right? This man should have been his decision. So you've got to be critical at the other end, where never once gets his head up.
No.
And Harvey Barnes' run is great because he pulls that defender inside, which opens it out. And Gordon was an acre's mind. He never gets his head up right, and that's the same with when he's in wide areas. I think the only time he ever gets his head up right is when he hears fucking Trippier's voice behind him. Because he goes and tells him what to do. So that's decisions where you're on about defending decisions. If that was Man City or anybody like that, with Bernardo Silva and that was Haaland out there, he would have just rolled it in.
Slid it in, didn't they? Yeah.
Bang, bottom corner. And that's the difference, mate, of decision making at
top quality players
at the wrong end of the pitch as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he just put it over, but he should have passed it 100%. But there wasn't that many chances. Again, we only hit the target 3 times out of 9 shots in the second half. We had 62% of possession. They had 7 shots, 4 on target. You know, and overall, in all of the possession, we had 17 attempts and only 5 on target, which is terrible for us. They had 12, 7 on target, 63 to 37% of possession. Both expected goals were 2 each. So the game sort of played out as a draw that the stats said it would do, to be honest with you. It looks like some potential bad news from the game, though, because Shaw was seen strapping his arm up this time in his shirt. This is not good.
No. It's
never ending, isn't it?
It's one thing after another. Obviously, we've got Lascelles there, but it's well, again, we're saying that horrible word, hopefully, that it's not too bad.
He can strap it up and he can still play, but we don't know how bad it is, do we?
Hopeful injuries turn into 3 to 4 weeks. And at this time of the season, 3 to 4 weeks, you're going into the back end of April now. And it's a critical time of the season where you want to be cementing your places into Europe or pushing up the table to get as much money back into the club for financial fair play next year to strengthen our squad. So we've got to rally together.
Yeah, we do. This was said after the game. We've not had full power and are our best at the moment. We're a little disjointed, but everyone is giving as much as they can to get results. We have to look at the positives. It's another game unbeaten. It was a big late goal for us. It's the most important quality to never know when you're beaten. Matt Ritchie emphasises that for everybody. I mean, it is in a way. I mean, I've seen Newcastle teams in the past where we would have went 2-1 down, we wouldn't have even got a point. So it is good to see us still battling to the end, and even then trying to win the game still. We weren't satisfied with the point. We did carry on trying to win it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Which is nice to see.
I thought the game was there for us at 1-1.
Yeah, I mean, well, I did as well.
It is. But yes, it does show character, but we shouldn't be putting ourselves in positions where we'll have to show our character to get a point. I mean, we've done it twice now at home.
But our home form is now turned into our away form, and our away form's turned into our home form. We kind of get the balance right, can't we?
But with that disjointed as a football club, that's the thing. Last year we had stability and on a constant basis, and we had stability week in, week out, where we didn't have European football. We're just anyhow had us training. We had the same 16, 18 players. We're all on the same hymn sheet.
Yeah.
And just things were in the right direction. Now, this season, I don't think we'll ever be tested as a football club like we've been tested this season, mate. And I think obviously going through with injuries, players, financial fair play, it's just been a massive club effort for what we're doing. And you've got to credit the man at the front mind, and that's Eddie Howe, for what he's had to put up with on and off this football pitch, week in, week out, and to still, I mean, we're still unbeaten for a while now. You know, I know we're critical of the results, but we're still unbeaten.
Yeah.
And everybody's wrote us off again now against Arsenal. I haven't wrote us off against Arsenal.
I'm praying for a point.
You know,
well, you never know. Our home or away form is brilliant because we don't have the emphasis to go and win the game as much as we do at home. We're more compact away from home because we're expecting the home team to come at us. So we actually defend better that way. But because we played Bournemouth yesterday, everyone's expecting us to be that team on the front foot and to try and win the game, and that's costing us, isn't it?
Yeah, and everybody's already goes, Dan Burn, Saka, straight away. We haven't even kicked the football yet. Right? And it's like, you know, let's just see how we do. And you know, I'm not asked. Let's go there and just give them a right good go. I'm not bothered.
I would love to do one over on that.
You know, I mean, everybody's picking faults at certain players yesterday. I mean, I thought Bruno's performance yesterday was very bitty in my eyes. Yeah. Right? He was in it. I thought first half, I don't think he was very, very good at all. And I thought Miley stood out like a sore thumb yesterday. Yeah.
Well, here's the whole ratings for everyone in the game. Dan Burn is 6.8, Trippier is 6.6. The difference and I know it sounds like look at Miggy's rating, 7.8. This is why though, 87% accurate passes, 20 out of 23, 3 dribbles attempted, 3 dribbles successful. He had 6 out of 7 ground duels he won, doing the high press and also defending. And he only lost possession 10 times. He was fouled 3 times. 1 out of 3 crosses made its mark. Now, this is why I always think sometimes statistics and ratings don't really tell you the full story, because for me, he wasn't in the game enough, and I don't think he had a great game, but he almost had an 8 average because of the hard work he puts in. Then you look at Harvey Barnes, who had a 7.1, right?
I thought he was pretty quiet, Harvey Barnes.
He was. Ground duels, though, 5 out of 9. Aerial duels, 2 out of 3. Lost possession 8 times. 88% passing accuracy. Dribbles, none out of 3. That's probably what's done his rating down. They both put a shift in. Because Miggy put in more dribbles, success rate, his rating is better. Yeah. And that's why I just don't understand ratings. But Miley, for me, was man of the match. I don't think anyone would disagree with that. I thought he stood out like a sore thumb, like you said.
Yeah.
He was absolutely brilliant.
First half especially. I mean, the ball inside was unreal what he played first half.
Yeah.
And people, there's a few of my friends go, I just don't know what they say in Miley. And if you watch him yesterday, I think he's getting better and better.
Yeah, he is. I want to point out another thing. Dan Burn had a 6.8 rating, and you would think he got skinned all the time. But their right winger, Semenyo, got substituted, and he only had a 6.6 rating. So that means he kept him quiet.
When did Dan Burn get beat down the side like he has been done the other games? He never did.
Never, not once.
It was from deep where was all the player was in. And I thought Sean Longstaff was a passenger yesterday. I really did. I thought Miggy, Sean Longstaff was a passenger. Like I say, Bruno was in and out of the game. I thought the second half, Bruno showed glimpses.
Got better.
He did. Yeah. I mean, after he dropped that nutmeg in on the 95th minute.
Right on the edge of the box. That was naughty. I said that. I said, don't lose the ball there. I was like, oh, that's naughty.
And he just dropped the nutmeg in, and you'd think, God almighty, like nerves of steel.
He has.
Do you know this? I thought Trippier done all right yesterday.
He did, but again, his rating wasn't great. But this man, we're going to talk about Lewis Miley because he was fantastic. However, there are still some parts of his game that he needs to brush up on. He had 74 touches. His passing accuracy was only 77%. So that needs to improve a bit. He had 1 key pass in the game, that you mentioned. 3 out of 5 long balls made its mark. He had 2 out of 2 dribbles, 9 out of 12 ground duels, 3 out of 3 aerial duels, but he lost possession 17 times. Now, as a midfielder, you want that to be at least 7 lower.
Yeah, but
he made 1 clearance.
What you've got to do there, though, he's trying to play at all times. So with him being young, he is going to lose the ball. But the most important thing in my eyes, he just loses it in bad areas. You cannot stop him wanting to play. And you can see he wants to play all the time. For me, he's so intelligent when he's making them runs off the ball to create space for Bruno. And yesterday as well, when you wanted somebody to sit the 6 at times, I thought he'd done that really, really well for a young lad. And like I say, I thought he's passing on the front foot at times. His thought of pass is up there with the best when he is. He's going to be a special player for us.
He is. And he started putting his foot in a bit more. He started to get a little bit more gritty, because that's what we were missing yesterday at times, especially in the first half, was no one was really going in hard. And I thought in the second half, Miley stood up to be counted for, and he was trying to play that role a bit more.
But out of their midfield, though, Baz, how many times did we get that football in their midfield and they were just shithouses and drag us and pull us and
loads of times
off, right? So I think we could have been more effective if the referee did his job properly and allowed us to play, rather than them being a bitty team that just want to drag us down and make it scruffy. But fair play, it's come to St.James Park. We can't have our own way. You know what I mean?
No, you've got to expect teams to come and play for a point and shithouse you, and you've got to rise above it, haven't you, at times? Yeah. And I just don't think we kept our heads very well yesterday. This is what Anthony Gordon said. Matt Ritchie defines what a group is. So professional. Good people get good rewards. People like him is why we get results today. We don't want to be that team, though. I know it's dramatic and entertaining, but we don't want to be conceding as many as we score. We have to fix it. I'm glad someone's come out and said it, because we've been saying it for ages. Yes, we're scoring goals, which is nice. I don't think we haven't failed to score 2 in a match for a very long time, the way the statistics are. But our defence is now suffering because of it. We haven't got the balance right. Last season, it went the other way, didn't it? After Christmas, we went on a run of draws where we got the defence right, but we couldn't get the attacking side right. We've now gone the opposite. It's only going to take either a change in tactics for me or a change in personnel. I mean, how do you think we can plug the gap? Is it a change in personnel, or is it waiting until players are back from injury, or change the tactics?
You kind of contradict yourself there. You can't change personnel if you haven't got the players there to do it.
Well, we've got Tino to come in. Do you change the tactics to 5 at the back, or play wing backs, go 3 at the back? I mean,
we'll do that.
We've got to change something, because the hole in midfield is too big, isn't it? So do we flood the midfield a little bit more?
But who do you
suffer the attacking side?
Who do you flood them with? Because if you flood the midfield, our fans at the minute will just say we're going into Bruce Paul, right? That's exactly what they'll do. We'll stop playing on the front foot again. We're not attractive anymore. All we're doing is we just went to a 4-5-1 and just condemn that midfield, right? But who do you put in there? That's the thing. Who do you put in there to make us effective going forward? We haven't got Willock. We haven't got Joe Linton. Right, massive players with us, massive players, right? And them.
But is it saying to Bruno, look, Bruno, I know we want to play you as an 8, but we need to play you as a 6 until we get this sorted out, because then he dictates play from a deeper side of things and maybe shows up that midfield.
I think Bruno wants to do everything.
He does, but that's just then having that conversation with him and saying, look, until we get these players back, we need to be tougher in midfield, and we need you to try and win games from being more defensive and let the other 2 try going forward. Because I mean, again, you're putting the hands into Miley and Sean Longstaff, aren't you? That's the problem.
So all you're doing is you're going round in a vicious circle where you can't quite get an answer. When we're trying to pick an answer here, and we're trying to get a good resolution out of the whole lot of it, right? How do you think Eddie Howe feels?
No, I completely agree.
How does he feel when he hasn't got Tonali, Joe Linton and Willock, right? Massive players at this football club that he can't use to make such a massive difference in a key area of our football club when you're putting a demand on a 17-year-old kid who's a standout player he's got Bruno next to him and you've got Longstaff. Now, Longstaff covers miles, but you know yourself, is he effective at times? He goes missing out of games, you know, and this is where our hands are tied, mate, and we've just got to rally through and get through it. And we can be critical and point fingers at players, and I think that's the wrong thing to do. We've just got to get through it this summer. We know
it's a good point,
right? We know where the weaknesses are, and we know where the weaknesses are standing out.
Yeah.
But we can't do anything. Right? Drop Burn. Everybody's saying drop Burn, bring Tino in. Right. So if
that doesn't give you a little bit of extra pace at left back. It doesn't. Totally stop the midfield, does it? It doesn't, show the midfield up and stop them from being attacked. Tino came on and got beat twice on the right wing, and no one mentioned it. There was good crosses into the box by Bournemouth that we nearly conceded from.
So if you're playing a big, strong side, so if you're playing Everton or somewhere like that, likes to get balls in the box, it's Sean Dice way. You play Tino, and we're getting bombarded by boxes, and everybody will go by. He's getting beat by aerials. We should be playing Dan Burn. I can see, me personally, Dan Burn's got his weaknesses as fullback. He's not a fullback. But if you play Tino and things aren't working right, what do you bring from the bench to change your game if you're going to bring Dan Burn on? Do you know what I'm trying to say? It's like if we had with Gordon playing up top, we only had Murphy there, so we put Murphy up top. It's not right what we're doing, but you've just got to make do with what we've got. Yeah, and it's so frustrating. You've got to have options from the bench to try and change things.
Yeah,
and if you haven't got them, you've just got to go with.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's just difficult because we want to try and work out how to try and target the hamstring areas.
Look, everybody wants. Do you know what it is? Last season was so refreshing, right? And everything was beautiful. It was great what we're doing last year. And with the signings that everything brought in, obviously with Tonali and Barnes and everybody was going forward. Especially after that first win, everything was going great. And we've had the whole nucleus of our squad ripped out of us through injury. And it's been tough, really, really tough. And for me to be in a position in the league what we are, I think it's remarkable what we've done.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Still in the FA Cup as well. There is some good news. I don't know how true it is, but this is what we got told in our group by someone who's normally on the ball, that Willock and Isaac are both training this week, and they should be available next week. Hopefully. Not starting potentially, but on the bench. But it'll be great to have them two back. Isaac and Willock would be huge for us. Absolutely huge for us.
For us. I'm just, honestly, he is absolutely exceptional footballer for us.
Yeah, I agree with it. Craig Hope has come out and said tonight that Dan Ashworth has today asked to leave Newcastle United. It's now up to Manchester United to meet the terms of buying out his contract. We don't know how much that is, whether it's 20 million, 30 million, 40 million, whatever it'll be.
Bed.
Yeah, he said he wants to leave. But I'll have more on this. 6 million, I think it's more than that.
60.
Oh, 60. We won't get 60.
Honestly, you're kidding. It's got to be down the road of 15 million, I would think, something like that. It's got to be.
Yeah, I would think so. You never know, though, because I heard it was 20 million to start off with was his actual buyout. But then if they want him now, because he has to go on gardening leave, they have to pay more than what the fee is. So it'll be interesting. I'll have more on this on Tuesday night. Alice has agreed to come back on again, the Man United fan, because I want to discuss this with her and what she thinks about the news and about everything that's going on. So by the time Tuesday comes around, you might have actually signed for them. So it'll be very interesting. So the left back show will be back on Tuesday night. Yes, we should milk them for every penny, rinse them as best as we can.
Yeah.
There's the table. So we are now sitting 8th. It kind of feels like a lost opportunity to be on 39 points. Man United are now starting to pull a gap away. How they're still winning football matches is beyond me. They beat Luton today 2-1. Brighton had a comfortable win against Sheffield United. I was getting excited when Wolves were beating Spurs yesterday.
See that tackle in that game, Baz?
I did, and I can't believe he's trying to defend himself because it is 100% a red card.
That was like the Hydora tackle. That one for me, it was horrendous.
It was.
How high that was. That's a career-ending tackle. That.
Yeah, it was horrible. I'm looking at the table now, and I'm thinking, Jesus, we could end up being 11th after the Arsenal game if it doesn't go our way. It's tough season. I mean, we were all kind of getting a bit giddy thinking we might catch Spurs, but we're now 10 points behind them still. We could have been 8 points behind them instead. It might have been a little bit rosier, but this draw's thrown that into question. But the final word basically for me is that these players are trying their hardest, and that's all we've ever asked of as a football club. When Mike Ashley was in charge, all we asked for was a team that tried. And this team is trying their bloody hardest. They really are. FFP is screwing us. Injuries have screwed us. We're 2 years into a project. Just remember, and I've said it how many times now, Ian, Adidas would not have put us a part of their elite panel of teams if they didn't believe Newcastle were going to be going somewhere and going somewhere soonish.
Quick.
I think we've got a big summer coming.
Yeah,
I really do.
Do you know, if you look at the bigger picture, right? Everybody's raging after a football match, and for me, everybody should we have won every game in this month when you've looked at it?
No.
Do you know we're unbeaten?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, we're unbeaten, and we're sitting 8th there in the league, right? And like I've just said before, I think it's remarkable that we are 8th with what's happened to us, with the amount of players that's been injured out of our team. And it's not just fringe players, that's it. They are first team pushers that are critical to our team going forward.
Yeah.
To be 8th at this time of the league with the amount of players that's missing, again, I've just said it's remarkable, which I totally stand by. Eddie Houston, I think, has done a remarkable job. If we're finished there at the end of the season, I'll be absolutely over the moon. I really will be. Because if you look back and sum up the whole season on a whole, what we've been through, like what you've just said there with financial fair play, everything what's gone on, we're still in FA Cup, which I know Eddie Howe's going to have a right good go at. If
Definitely.
we finish
Blackburn away is a very winnable game, isn't it?
Yeah. If we finish where we are come the end of the season, when we regroup coming into the summer, I think we'll be in such a strong place in that summer.
I absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. That was the Bournemouth. Oh. Someone showing that Miggy thing again when he put the ball in his own net against Forest, I think it was. I find that reasonable to assume it's a job, at least the structure is already there. Thanks as always. In common sense, at least in this sea of social media nonsense. So that's what I say. We always try and look at it from back to front.
What I'm trying to do now is after the game, I'm trying to come straight off it because it's the backlash of frustration where you look when you come like my friend texts me straight away. I'm not going back to the game if Dan Burns playing again, and I says just calm yourself down and have a look when you look back at things rather than being hashed when you're coming out the ground. You know, everybody says things in the heat of the moment, but when you look at it on the bigger wide scale, you can see other things where we can be so much better rather than individuals, and we've got to be.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me when you look at things on the broader picture. Like so, you know, God Almighty, we've been such a disjointed team squad for a long time now. So we've just got to, like I say, we've all got to stick together and just get us over this line into the summer.
I love that. Telegraph saying Ashraf will be prevented from joining Man U until 2026 unless demands of more than 20 million are met. Twitters and some channels need to stop stirring. We stand behind our team. Exactly. I'd like to see us go abroad and try and get best value for money. I'm sure we will. I really do. But let's wait and see what happens in the summer. The other thing about Lewis Hall, I want to quickly do.
Yeah.
We've got a couple of minutes on Lewis Hall. There's a lot of things that have been said. We think that he might be going back to Chelsea. Apparently, that's not possible. Apparently, he's met the obligations, so he is staying with us. Now, the reason why he's not being played, apparently, this is something that a few people have said to me now on Twitter, and it could be true. It might just be a load of bollocks. But they're saying that if he plays more games, he'll trigger more payments now rather than in the summer. And those more payments could then push us over the FFP barrier. So he's not being played because he's going to trigger extra payments to Chelsea sooner rather than we want. Now, that's horrible for him as a player to sit there knowing you're not going to get game time or you're only going to be used if it's absolutely necessary. And that's why he flung on Joe White. I mean, no disrespect to Joe White, but he's come from nowhere, playing in an under-23s, which he's come from his mother, hasn't he? But in respect for performances and things like that, and the under-23s are where we are in a league it's not great, is it? Let's face it, we don't have much talent in there. But he's gone in front of Lewis Hall, which says to me, I thought straight away he's going back to Chelsea because he's not using them. But apparently it's something to do with payments.
Well, I got told he was going back to Chelsea, which obviously I told you. And with him not being played, and it kind of adds up to that. If it's down the financial fair play route, it could be well that one as well. But God, as a footballer, like you've just said there, again, look at the situation what we're in, where people's being critical. No disrespect to Joe White, by the way, he's just starting his football career and he's made his debut, but he shouldn't be setting foot on that football pitch against Bournemouth in the Premier League. And it goes down to our squad depth. You know what I mean? And again, this is why we're not where we potentially could be. But Lewis Hall, for me, I'm not his biggest fan.
I think there's a lot of potential there. I really do. Hearing from a lot of Chelsea fans I speak to, they said they were gutted he left because there was talent there.
Yeah, mate, I've seen all of that. I don't know.
Good goal against Man United at Old Trafford.
I'm on the even when I've seen him play, I'm just on the fence with him. I haven't seen enough of him. Like all Newcastle fans have. But what I've seen, I've just from a left back, I don't know if I want like a Kieran Trippier mould on that other side because we're blessed with what he's got. I just expect a little bit more. But who knows in years to come if he's still there. We might get that.
All like that, wouldn't we?
I'll be very surprised if he lives up anywhere near the ability what he has on the other side.
It's true, very true. Right, that's the end of the show. Thank you for watching, everyone. I really appreciate it. I hope you've enjoyed the sensible discussion about the game. I'll be back on Tuesday night. I've hopefully got Alice, the Man United fan. Who else have I got? Simon, the Luton fan, and hopefully Mike, the Brighton fan, to come on for the left back show to discuss a few things on Tuesday night. Me and will be back Friday night because there's a game on Saturday, isn't there? Is it Saturday again?
I'm sure it's 8 o'clock at night, isn't it, Arsenal?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, we'll be back on Friday to discuss that game at 8 o'clock at night on a Saturday. Oh God. So yeah, I'll be doing a watch along for that then, I suppose. Why 8 o'clock on a fucking Saturday, man? Who picks these times? It's absolutely ridiculous. But don't forget to subscribe, hit the thumbs up button, guys. It really does help. It makes a massive difference. Don't forget about our amazing sponsors, Diet Coke. They give a $40 gift card to give away to our members. 20% off for anyone who wants to buy anything. Some of the t-shirts are amazing. We're hopefully going to have these in production soon for you guys to get one. It won't have the support free speech on the back. We might get a number on the back or something like that. And football prizes, £100 credit they give to the channel. Well, they could give it to me, but I give it to you guys instead. So please consider checking them out. Link is in the description. The Gaza signed shirt is live raffle at the moment. It'll be drawn on Wednesday. I've got a couple of tickets, so good luck to anybody else who gets involved. And I am trying to do a massive raffle for charity myself. So if anyone's got any spare memorabilia they don't want, it's just clogging up space, send it to me, and we'll hopefully make a few charities a lot of money. That's the idea. But thanks for tuning in, everyone. Thanks to Ian, as always, for his very stable knowledge of football, which is what I like. Level-headed, none of this ranting at a screen. If you ever see me rant, guys, I'll quit. I promise you, I will never do that. Honestly, I'll be out of here in a shot, and I'm sure Ian will be out of here in a shot as well, because he doesn't want to listen to someone whinge at a screen and shout and scream and blow his ears out. So thank you, everyone. Exactly. Yeah, and the kids. I love it. See you Tuesday night. See you Friday night as well. Take care till then, everyone.
Take care.